Okay, guys, I'm just going to kind of wing this one. Basically, I guess the question is, do you stay in? Should you go ahead and take your profit? Is this going to come crashing down? Can it go further up? And I guess that's what we're going to do, is just go look at some of these multiple charts I have and just look at possible points where it might, be a good point to put a stop loss, and potentially where this can go to the upside and the downside. But again, guys, so yesterday I put out a video. I said possible Bitcoin pump to 9,300 in 2 hours if we do not drop below 9,125. I also made a post on Twitter. Guys, follow me on Twitter. It's this is where I go first to make an update, because it's fast. Videos take a while to process and upload. But I was telling people when we cross this ring, I expect us to have a pump at least to 9,300. So let me show you a couple charts. So this was the chart that I was saying, and you can see how price was moving down this ring perfectly. And I was telling people, so these rings help you visualize what the bots are doing. I mean, price would come up, you get rejected. You come up, you hit it, get rejected, rejected, rejected. And when price is moving down, price was dropping, and as price is dropping, more and more people are putting in shorts. And at some point, price needs to get pushed back up to liquidate those shorts. So, as price is going down, when it crosses this ring, this is a target to send price up to liquidate those shorts. So if you use this chart here, this was my reference, this moving down this ring, about to cross this ring. And then I had multiple charts, had two Coinbase charts I was using, but you can see that this, let me make this larger so you can see it. But you can see that this, and I drew a trend line going back, just showing you how strong of a role it played. Is you have resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, and then we had support right here and the support right here. So guys, support isn't always horizontal. And again, when I create these charts, I use the same method, but sometimes I chart them a little differently, because price action might be following a certain trajectory on one exchange versus another. So when you have charts for multiple exchanges with different potential targets and formations you could be in, and you compare all of them, it gives you a better idea of what potential pattern you might be in, where your targets are. And you can see on this chart alone, when we pushed up, we seem to get rejected right here at this this red ring right here. So again, it'll be interesting to see if we continue to push up or if we start coming down. Remember, when things go up parabolic like this, it can come crashing right back down, or it can retrace a bit and then go back up. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I was going to try to just go through some of these charts and show you potential points where maybe. And guys, this is not for leverage trading. I don't think leverage trading is smart, especially when it would make sense that price would come back down, and for that reason alone, I think it's more likely price would go up. I suggest you look at longs versus shorts and maybe use that as an indicator. If longs are stacked, then chances are price will come down. But this is more about just finding support. But you see, we are getting rejected at this ring right here. So let me show you also. So this chart, this is that ring that I was telling you about. This is I call it the capitulation chart. It has a certain date on it. But you can see we're moving down this ring. We finally broke past it. And when we came up on this ring, you can see we had, and this white line represents 2% from here to here, because we had a 2% pump up here and then retrace back down. This was just liquidation, liquidating longs and shorts. But you can see we came up to this point. This is roughly 2%. We came up above it. We came down below. So this could come crashing back down. I have my stop loss set. I'm not going to tell you where I have my stop loss set, because I don't want this to get out. And there are stop hunter bots out there. So, but the point is this was liquidation. This, I'm not going to say this is organic. I don't believe this is retail. But again, this is on the hours. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 hours, and we're still holding up here. And you can see the RSI is resetting, but we're still staying. We're still pretty high up, 9,416 right now. So again, and I told you in those previous videos that if we make it above this ring, that's when I get bullish. I'd like to point out you know, I mean, we shot right, like I said, we crossed this ring, we had a pump. I expected us to come up to test, you know, right around here, and we shot above that. But let me see here. So if I put this on the 30-minute, this is what I want to show you. So, and this is, you know, some people ask me, well, what do you trade? Do you use the 1 hour or the 1 day? I understand if you use the 1 day, you know, you see the bigger picture and you can get a better idea for targets. But when I go down to the smaller time frames, it helps me find out which one of these lines are support. You can see that, you know, we did cross this ring, we pumped up, and then when we got to this ring, we got resistance and we came down, but we found support on this trend, this line in this fib channel. Then we came up here, we found support on this line in this fib channel. So, you know, a potential stop loss on this chart, a safe stop loss, I think potentially would be around, you know, I would look at this line to be support. If we're going to go higher and not have a major retrace, then it makes sense, since we found, and if you go back, you can see that this right here was previously support. Well, actually, so this was a lot of support and resistance, and we came up above it, we found support, and we broke down below it. So your next support is going to be this line right here. So if you do want to stay in, you know, a good safe support, I mean a good stop loss would potentially be, you know, below this line and possibly below this ring. So I would say maybe 9,340 if you wanted to stay in, just to see if this comes down and retraces back up. Again, this is just based on this chart. You know, you could take your profit now and you luck out because it could just come crashing down, or it could just retrace back down a bit and then shoot up, and you'd be like, well, damn, I should have stayed in. I would like to point out, it's me, I'm going to try to have all these charts on the screen. I would like to point out on this chart, if you compare these two, so you can see here, you know, right here when we pushed up, you know, this was the point we bottomed, we crossed the ring, and then we started pushing up, and you can see we got rejected at this ring again. We've been constantly rejected at this ring, moving down it. And then it happened again, we hit this ring, we were getting rejected. As soon as we pushed above this ring, we had a major pump. And that also coincides with this chart here. You can see that this right here was very strong support. And again, these have been, you know, these charts have, this has been mapped out, you know, months in advance. So this was here when price action, you know, was, you know, a month back. But you can see we broke below this, and then we pushed back up. As soon as we broke above this support right here, that's when we had our major pump. And you can see that this next line up in this fib channel, I have a white line there, but, well, actually it's a really long line, but you can see that this is this aqua color line in this fib channel is your next target above. So, you know, according to this chart, if you push up, you could find resistance right here at 9,492. So let's just say 9,500. Looks like that might be a point to get a retrace. It is possible we go much higher. If we move up, you know, this line in this fib channel is 10,356. You know, I've heard some people talking about 10,000 could be a target, and we'll look at that in the bigger picture. But again, this just to give you targets to get an idea. So according to this chart, if you wanted to potentially take your profit, you know, this has been resistance in the past. If you follow it back, you can see that you have a lot of resistance here, a lot of resistance, support, more resistance, more support going way back. So this line has played a role. So that means if, you know, we might be topped out now, or if we push up, you might look at, you know, possibly taking your profit at you know, 9,495 or something like that, if we're not already topped out and start moving back down. I am going to stay in. I have a stop loss set just in case it does push higher, but we still need to get above this very strong resistance at 9,494. So let me show you some other charts, and we'll just kind of go through and see what we can find here. So this chart right here, you know, according to this chart, and actually, so you can see that this was the other chart that was very strong support, and I can show you this. We can just draw a trend line going down, And I don't know if this actually price action is to go that low, but this trend line, or the line of this fib channel, did prove to be strong support. You can see we were moving down this red ring. In that previous video I said if we stay below this red ring and break support, we can come down. We came down to this fib channel, we came back up, got rejected. And typically what you do when these fib channels are set up, you come down to the next fib channel line. We were riding up it, we pushed up, we broke above, we found support, and then we pushed up. But look what happens here. You know, as soon as we got to this fib channel, you got rejected, came back down, just found resistance, and then it found support, and then you moved up. So it's possible your next target, if we move up, is around 9,500. So it seems like a lot of these charts are showing that 9,500 is a potential point to get rejected. But you can see this line right here is going to be a lot of resistance right here at 9,556. So that will be a lot of resistance. If we pull this back, we didn't quite make it there. Let's see how far back this goes. If this, and again, guys, that's what I'm saying. You know, people think it's always horizontal. But price action actually respects price, at an angle. I don't know if it goes back that far because price was way above that, but you can see this line has played a role. You can see this was some resistance. You see this was support and resistance, and then over here you can see we got resistance. So it's likely that if we move up, you're going to have a lot of resistance right here at 9,559. And again, this target for the top, if we just move straight up, that's 9,500. And I just want to look and see. So, we do have a ring. I have a lot of these charts have fib channel lines and rings around 10,000. So if we do retrace back down and push up, it's possible we could hit 10,000. But just as a stop loss for this chart, it looks like if we come back down and we test. We could possibly come back down and test and keep riding up. It's like we found support here, we dropped down to this fib channel, we pushed up to this one, found support, but coming back down. So we could find support on this fib channel line and start moving up it. So a potential stop loss according to this chart would be like 9,360, maybe to play it safe, 9,340. Again, guys, if you have your stop loss too tight and it comes down, it's going to stop you out, then you have to buy back in. So you have to be willing to lose a little if you're going to stay in. If you want to be extra cautious, this right here is going to be a lot. This was previously a lot of support, so that means it'll be support again. So if you wanted to be extra cautious to stay in case this retraces back down, I think a very, very safe stop loss will be around, right here is 9,300. So 9,294 I think would be a safe stop loss, because this will be a lot of support. If we retrace back down, you could push back up. Always pay attention to these rings, guys. Look back and see what these rings previously did when price hit it. It can give you an idea if it'll push price down, just like that chart I showed you with the chart with the ring. This is going to be difficult with all of these charts. Hold on. So yeah, just like this chart here, you see when we approached this ring, we got topped out, we moved down it, and as soon as we broke it, we pushed up, and then we got slight rejection here and pushed up. Let me load up, let's see, let me do another chart here. So this one, this is Bybit. You can see right here, we hit this actually to the tick, this fib channel line right here. And we could go back and see how much of a role it played. So let's do a trend line and follow this back. You can see you had some support and resistance, but it's more clear here. You find perfect support, resistance, support, a lot of support and resistance. We couldn't make it above it. We wicked above it, we found resistance and then pushed down, and we wicked way above it. But right now we are finding resistance, and it is, you can see that right when we hit this, we started coming down. So according to this chart, you can see that this right here, this fib channel line right here, this has been a lot of support and resistance. So according to this chart, if you wanted to have a safe stop loss, that would be around 9,330. And if you wanted to be, extra cautious, down here around 9,145, because this line here and let's follow this back. So if we go from here and go back, let's see how much of a role this played. Let's just say always go back and look and see how much of a role these lines played, and that'll give you an idea. You see we came down, support, got a lot of support there. We got support there. As soon as we broke it, we came down, came back up. So we broke that line. So that line has played a lot of role as support and resistance. You can see we wicked right up to it here. And then we came right up to it and then came back down. So that does look like a very safe point if you wanted to stay in. Again, I have to reiterate, this isn't financial advice. It's just trying to help you, look at these multiple charts to decide if you want to stay in, or if, it looks like a very safe stop loss where, if price did come back down or retrace, looks like we're possibly bouncing back up and forth in this channel. So, a good stop loss right here would be right 9,130. Again, guys, you have to be willing to lose a little bit to stay in. Sometimes, if you set a tight stop loss, it'll work out to your advantage because it'll drop down further and you buy back lower. But you'll have your stop loss set, here. It'll come down, wick you out, and then move back up, and that always sucks. Let's see. Let me go to another chart here. This chart right here. This is the Binance chart. According to this chart, you can see that there is resistance up here, 9,611. You can see this line has been playing a role as resistance. It's not as clear. I mean, it did stay underneath it. You can see it wicked and came back below it, but you didn't have like exact wicks hitting it. But you can see that this line right here has been very strong support. So again, that's why different exchanges, price action is a little different. So you'll notice one line might be angled up on one exchange and one will be angled down on another. So that's why comparing all of them can give you a better idea of a good support and resistance, or what formation you're in. So according to this chart, if we come back down, a good stop loss would probably be around 9,170, and again you have resistance right here at 9,600. And I'm curious if this right here is 10,000. This is 10,600. This is 10,200. Guys, I think it's likely if we move up, if we do continue up, I think we'll get topped out at 10,000. And the reason for this, let me go to this chart. And I apologize that I didn't plan this out. I was just kind of going through these charts and showing you different things. But if you look, and actually let me just clear everything off of this, get rid of these. And guys, use your moving averages. If you go by your 200 moving average, if you drop down to support on that, that's 8,864. So use whatever TA you use. Again, I use the charts I create to look for support and resistance, and use the rings as potential pivots as well as resistance and support. But let me get rid of these. So all I want to point out is that right here, let's see, this is at 9,500 roughly. Actually, let me do a horizontal line here. So this is 9,500 roughly. It's actually 9,510. But you can see that this has given us a lot of resistance. I'll make this right on 9,500. Oh, that's going to be a little tough. But anyways, you can see that this was a lot of support. We got a lot of resistance right here, and they came down, and now we're finding resistance currently. So, if we make above this, and then we find support, I think we can start getting a little bullish. So we're going to go much higher. I mean, we're already putting in higher highs and higher lows. But again, this can come crashing down at any time. But I do think that 10,000 might be the top, and the reason I say that is because if you look right here, this wick, this is right at 10,000. You see we wicked above this, came back down. This wick almost made it to it. You can see there was a lot. Let me go down to the 4 hour. You can see that we had a lot of support and resistance right here at 10,000. And as soon as we broke this 10,000 point, we came underneath it. We had resistance, we had support. As soon as we broke this point, this is when we came crashing down. We wicked almost to it. So I think if this pushes up, I do think that the max this will probably go is 10,000 before getting rejected. Again, not financial advice, just my opinion. I think this probably has one more push up to 10K before potentially coming back down. If you want to look at the the ultimate target, I've shown you this before, guys. If you come from, let's see here, let me go back to the 1 day. This is just the more macro to give you an idea. So if we come from this point here and we come to the tip here, and this would be your support, and this goes all the way back. This is in log scale, but this would be your support right here. So if we do push above 10,000 and we continue up, I would look at possibly getting rejected. Of course, this is at an angle, but 11,800. So if we continue up, this is 11,800. If you're more sideways, this would be 11,404. If we get above this, I get bullish because we're breaking out of this larger structure, and we don't really know what the structure is. It could be more like this. Could be this is right at the tip of the wick. You can't this if you adjust it, you don't really know exactly, because sometimes when it wicks way above, you don't know if that's the actual structure or not. But if you use that as the actual structure at the very tip of this, then again, if you moved up here, that's 11,800. Down here is 11,316. And then if you come back down, you're going to find support potentially at 8,027. So if you really want to, if you want to stay in and you don't mind losing, if it does come crashing down, and you want to play it extra safe, a very likely support is going to be, if we drop straight down, so your support would be right 7,000. Well, let's say 7,500. It's very unlikely that we would drop straight down, but if we move kind of sideways and down, your support right here is like 8,263. So if you had your stop loss, around 8,000, I think that'd be a safe stop loss. If you did want to stay in and just not have to worry about it, you don't mind losing, about almost, actually, maybe losing about $500, and it's still a safe stop loss to keep you in. But the point is that I think if we break this support right here, I think that is what's going to trigger an extended bear run. It doesn't mean it has to happen. I'm sorry, an extended bear market. If we break this support, I think that we have much lower to go. And you watched that previous video I made about the Bitcoin bubble. It is a very bearish case, a bearish scenario, but I do believe if we break this support, I think we have much lower to go, a lot lower than a lot of people think. But again, guys, if we do push up above, this trend line here, wherever this trend line should be, and they come back down and find support, then I get bullish. But the bigger picture is if we do push up, you are going to find a lot of resistance at, if you move straight up, that's definitely not going to happen. This is 12,100. If you're out here, this is around 12,381. And guys, the reason I mention this is because this chart, this goes way back. The center line and this. Let me get rid of these. So you can see this center line here. This was 2014. As soon as we broke support of this, we capitulated down. It was kind of a bleed down. Had drops, pumps, drop, pump, more of a pump, then had a drop. But this is the center line we came down from. You can see this same center line was resistance. It was support. This is the same center line we found support on. Support again. Then we broke it. We dropped from 6K to 3K. And then when we pushed up, you can see that we found resistance. We found support and resistance. We pushed below it. When we pushed up, we pushed to the next line, and then came back down and found support again on this same center trend line. We found support on it. As soon as we broke it, we came down. This is when we formed our descending channel we've been in for quite a while. But you can see we broke down below it, and then when we had that push up, I'm sure everybody remembers this, but when we came sideways and came down, we pushed up and found perfect rejection right here on the center line. And then we came down, and now we're moving up. So again, guys, if we do push up, I'm expecting when we hit this point, we will get a retrace back down. I'm not saying we can't go higher. If we get above this point, we've already put in Well, we haven't put in a higher high than 1400, but if we get above this point, I get even more bullish. And then we find support on that, then yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the bull run started. No more capitulation. You'll never hear me utter the word capitulation again. But guys, I just want to show you that this is a very major resistance level, and I hope you see that from me going all the way back to 2014 and showing you how much of a role this center line has played. So again, in the bullish case, we come up, the super bullish case, we come up and we test 12,193, and then potentially retrace back down, and if we come back up and get above it, again, I get bullish. Guys, we are respecting all of these lines in this pitchfork. So if we drop down, your target right here is 8,100, and keep in mind this line right here coincides with that bottom line that I showed you in that previous chart where I drew the trend lines with the entire structure we're in. So this line would be very strong support. This is called the Capitulation Chart. It's the first chart, I think. Actually, it's the second chart down under BTC related. But again, this is going to be very strong support. But if we do break below that, guys, I think we're coming down much lower. And by the time if we drop below and we come down and find support here, these are only temporary support to catch a bounce. You come down, you'll catch a bounce, and then you drop down to the next one, because I believe once we break that major structure, that we're coming down much lower. One of these lines will be our support, because we have respected all of these lines. You can see that we drop down to this line, support, resistance, all the way up to here. This next line was support, resistance, resistance, support, and then we came up to this line, got topped out, and back to this line, back to this line. So again, this is your next line up. This is your support if we drop down, and then guys, if we break that, like I said, I think we're coming down much lower. I think I've shown all the charts here. So again, just to recap, guys, so a good support level, it looks like, if you want to play it safe, to not lose too much, 9,350 I think would be a safe bet. If you want to be if you want to lose a little bit more, I think 9,300 would be safe, because I do think this will be a lot of support. And I think if you want to stay in, I think 9,500 could be a point we get rejected. If we do move higher, I would look at 10,000 as a point to also get rejected. You can see this line in this fib channel right here. Out here is 9,700, so it's possible we don't make it to 10K. Actually, this blue line in this fib channel is 9,950. So again, if you have access to the charts, guys, just go and open up all the charts and just look at these lines, and also go back and see where these lines played a role. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to draw a trend line here. If we did push up higher and we tested 10,000, I want to see if this line played a role previously as support and resistance, to see how strong of a role it played. And you can see it is playing a role. We dropped below it. You can see we had some support and resistance there. We had a lot of support and resistance. We couldn't make it above it. We came down, and that comes all the way over here. We came up. We couldn't quite make it to it. We came back down. Actually, I'm at the wrong one, guys. Hold on. My apologies. Sorry about that. So yeah, we came down, we found support on it. As soon as we broke through, we came down, and yeah, so this played a role as support. So you can see we were finding support on this ring right here, and then we came up, and then we started moving up this line in this fib channel. We got resistance on this line, this fib channel. We came down, we found support like 3 or 4 times, came up to this one, found resistance, dropped down, found support one more time, and then we fell through it. So you can see this line again, we found support, we dropped past it. So I think that 10,000 is a likely target. If we push up, that would be the point. If we come up and we test 10,000 or close to 10,000, then I need to reassess and look at how far we could come down to potentially put in a stop loss. We'll get to that point if we go that high. But look at 9,500 as a point to get rejected. If we do retrace back down and go push back up higher, I think 10,000 is a likely target. If we get above that, we get a lot more bullish. But guys, sometimes you just got to take your profit. If you don't, it can come crashing back down, and all the profit you made, you've lost. But on the flip side, it is possible it always goes higher, so sometimes it's better just not sell and just to have a stop loss to protect you in case it does crash down hard. Guys, I hope this helped out a little bit. If you do want to access the charts, that information is in the description. My Twitter account's there, the link to my Twitter account's there as well. Yeah, check out the charts, and I'll keep everybody updated on Twitter. That's it, guys.